Hello, the channel. Hello, David. Footy Die. How are you doing?
Yeah, mate, I'm really good. Yeah, really excited to be on this call and go through what hopefully will be some successful teams.
Good. Thanks very much for coming on. No obligation for anybody to actually come on, but I'm glad you've been able to come on, be able to sort out the schedules and everything as well. So, sort of general format of it is we're going to have a quick look through the teams you've got ongoing just now, and then we're going to do some lineup building for the weekend. So, actually, a few sort of live chances running midweek, which is really good. And then the famous Glasgow Celtic with a good fixture at 12:30 on Saturday. So yeah, that's going to be interesting stuff. Just before we go into that, how did you feel when obviously you do enter these giveaways? There's hundreds of people, so when your name comes out, like how did you feel when you'd actually won something?
Yeah, quite surreal, really, because like I said to you before we jumped on, I've been on for 3 years now, and I've tried to always jump on as many giveaways as I can. Um, and I wasn't expecting it. You sent the link over through Twitter, and I thought it was to start off with you just trying to like get the video out there for people, just to see it. And then obviously you played through it, and then my name came out before you died, and I was like, oh shit, here we go. I had no idea that that was going to happen. I was out in I live in Cardiff, I do. So I was just out in town with the missus, and it popped up on my phone, and she was like, "What are you looking at?" It's like I've just won this giveaway, and I always call you a bit of a whale account just for the size of your gallery. So obviously when I saw the midweek and then the weekend and saw what Celtic's fixture was, I was very happy with that. Put it that way.
Yeah, good. No, that's brilliant. That's the whole idea behind it, to be honest. And I say if there's going to be another couple of winners. If people don't want to come on or whatever, you just do it like the weekend. You sent me your teams and we just got them in or whatever because we both didn't have the same schedules. But yeah, let's have a look. So I'm going to do share screen. Hopefully that works now, and we're going to start having a look at what's ongoing. So technology's cooperating so far. All the cameras are working. We can see everybody. You see me at your end as well, yeah.
Yeah, I've got you. Yeah,
Awesome, good. So yeah, you picked a couple of good ones here actually. So obviously, like teams like the All Star Limited or whatever, it's kind of shorter goalkeepers midweek, which is a bit of an irony considering the amount of goalkeepers I actually carry. But Champion America Limited scoring pretty well. So obviously Boanga was superb. So I think he got three decisives, didn't he? Like
yeah, really good. I thought I was going to see 100 off him, but I think he got a 91 in the end in the game. Him
yeah,
and Vela smashed,
yeah.
which was good. And then obviously still got Gill to go. So fingers crossed he can get his usual 100 score with that captain bonus. Yeah, hopefully that should be able to get a good little result that one. I was hoping for Inter Miami to keep a clean sheet, obviously, since Messi's gone there. I think Calendar might have kept a clean sheet in two of the games now since Messi joined. So I was hoping he was going to be able to keep a clean sheet there, but he obviously conceded the one goal, but still had a good AA score, which was handy. So fingers crossed. I think it's on for a tier three at the moment. It said at the bottom there. So
Yeah.
hopefully that can go up to a tier one or maybe tier two, depending on what Gill does.
Yeah,
He's
I had to look at it. I think if he does like a kind of 60-ish with the captain bonus, then you should be in the top sort of 75 or whatever anyway. So I mean it, looks likely you'll pick up some sort of card, but obviously you really need a big score. I mean, obviously the two issues are we'll come back to Messi in a minute, and Fella interesting was only like a tenner or something. He's gone down so low, but there's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
saw
talk
that
how
in
long
Werner
he's
as
going to
well.
play and everything as well. But he just totally smashed as well, which was kind of interesting. I don't know why I don't own him actually. I think it's probably just he seems to be quite injury prone, and obviously there's a talk of like he might leave at some point or he might retire. So that's probably always just kind of put me off a wee bit. But
Yeah, I saw he was
you know,
saying that he only wanted, or he said he came out and said something like, "I might just have one more season after this, but I'm not sure
yeah,
where I'm going to play." Because I looked at his rare and he was down to like 0.07 ETH or something like that, something that was really really low considering what he used to be. And his scores are still pretty good, even though he is
yeah.
getting on a little bit. Yeah, it's that risk on that player there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's injured again as well. So I think he picked up
Oh,
some
is
sort
he?
of injury, which is kind of seems to be kind of typical, and that's probably what's keeping down his score. So this is a nice team. Obviously Wygand very solid. They get a clean sheet. Vargas was a wee bit unlucky. I mean, he put in a really good base earlier, and I think he had two key passes and um, two big chances created and three key passes. So he's probably a wee bit unlucky, not decisive. But obviously 270 with 50% captain bonus, that puts you in the mix because obviously The Magic Man's hit the 91, 92. I just love him. I think he's a GOAT, but
He's so good to say.
it's unreal. I said in one of the previous videos, just if you can, just try and go and buy one, because if he plays a couple of years, obviously in MLS, then 80s, 90s, and 100s will just be the norm for him. To be honest, he's just that type of player. If he gets one goal or whatever, then you're automatically pretty much in the 80s. And there's a lot of players that maybe get a goal and you're worrying about them get 60 or whatever, or get 63, and he's just a phenomenon. It's looking good, obviously. So good luck with the Philly game. I mean, obviously they're Blake's type of guy who can put up a good score as well. And Gazdag's he's a hit or misser, but he seems to when he hits, he seems to go a bit bonkers and go for the sort of the free goal. And I've just not, I don't know if I've done this deliberately or whether I won him, but I've actually got his shirt number.
Oh yeah,
Realise that?
oh, yeah, I didn't notice that. You have got it, yeah.
Yeah, I actually only noticed that just now, believe it or not. Like, I don't know whether I went for that auction or whether actually I picked him up as a win. But anyway, that's me just sort of digressing. I kind of had a bit of a difficult game week myself. So Joris Kayembe was horrendous and got hooked at half time. Messi's in that team, but him and Medina have both been terrible. So Gil and Raphael really need some sort of miracle to pull a card out there. Funnily enough, under 23s, Rare Pro, I think one of the two goalkeepers, I think it's maybe Van der Voort and the lad Petrovic at New England, but apparently he's not going to play because there's been a transfer that he's taken the half. So actually, if John Tolkien does like 80 odds or whatever as a captain, that will probably pick up a reward in the under 23s, which looks a bit bonkers, but obviously just because there'll be lots of teams actually in there that don't have goalkeepers, just that type of game week. But anyway, the weekend is the real quiz, as they say. So I think we'll probably get on to that. Did you get your cash wallet and everything all sorted out as well? Yeah.
Yeah, so it took literally 2 minutes to set up, and I got the KYC straight back, which is really good to see. Yeah. I'm happy that they've added that. I think hopefully now that can really bring in users who just see that as a cash fiat wallet, and they can just go, yeah, perfect, I'm on 15, 20 quid, do it in 5 minutes, rather than everything with ETH. I've come to understand it, but when I first joined, I wasn't too keen on it. I remember Quinny's videos when he used to do it on his phone and trying to follow what he was doing on there. And I was like, I can't do this. I've got no idea. I'm going to lose this money here. So I kind of like held off a month or two until I really got into it, and then figured it out. And I was okay with it. And I've obviously been okay with it since for the past 3 years. But yeah, this should just get on your average user, which is great to hear, because I've had so many mates who I've spoke to them about it and they're like, not really into the crypto stuff, I'm going to leave that one, and then just go and play FBL, and then they're out within 2 weeks and they're like, why am I playing this?
Yeah.
So fingers crossed this should be good, and hopefully, because they've got it out before the season starts, they get a bit of a marketing push in now through August and September. Fingers crossed we can see some real results off the back of it.
Yeah, I actually got my first sort of sale there. It's like kind of won the goalkeeper, nice. And they got it's like 23 quid for him or whatever, and it's coming as cash. We do the only downside is obviously if you've got a wee bit of cash or whatever, and somebody's an F only type of guy, then there's still some barriers there. But I agree with you, like the biggest barrier is like somebody just want to come and actually join and just sticking in 20 quid or whatever. And we're limited now. I mean, there's some of the guys in the MLS and stuff like. I hold like Jack Maher, obviously at Nashville. He's still pretty young and stuff, and his limit is going for like £1.50 and stuff. So you definitely can come in and like actually build a team for 20 or 30 quid now or whatever, play about. And I suppose from that point of view, because you've got the cash wallet, well, a really, really low fee, and also you can actually buy some cards and stuff. I think that's a good entry point for people to come in. It's like Messi's like 200 quid, but that to me still seems a bit cheap, if that makes sense, just because it's 200 quid, but like the best scorer, most popular player in the platform or whatever, So like somebody did come in and say, I really like this, and they want to commit a few hundred or whatever, you could still potentially buy some of the best players in the platform, so it's not completely out of reach. But yeah. Let's get into the actual lineups, because I think you've got more lineups out this weekend than me, to be honest. So
tried my best to get as many as I could in.
Yeah. So this is your first one in the All-Star Limited, going with pretty much the Celtic stack. We'll come back to that obviously, because you've got this sort of Celtic stack in the 270 as well. So this looks really good. I think the only thing you probably weren't aware of here is defender wise. I think big CCVs. Well, I've got them down as 85% and play sharper as well. So I've actually just
Yeah,
so
I've looked at these teams just before we jumped on, and
yeah,
obviously I saw your message around it, and I've swapped Carter Vickers in for Greg Taylor.
yeah.
I think that's a better shout. He's got 16.5% bonus as well, which is crazy when I see some of your cards with such a high percentage.
So these champion cards, I know.
Exactly. But yeah, I think he's the play there. He should rack up AA for fun. And even if he only plays 70 minutes and then you're 3-4 in a lap, hopefully he should still have easily 60, 70 points there, which is what you want. Greg Taylor's a bit more of a boom or bust player, just being a fallback. So yeah, I'm happy with Carter Vickers in there.
I don't think Taylor's even that like certain to play. Like obviously,
Really okay.
the press conference there, and Rogers was talking about it being a fresh slate, and they asked about Vickers and Ralston. He said they would have a look at them both tomorrow, so he didn't rule them in or rule them out. But watching the Bilbao first half during the week, Vickers looked pretty sharp to me, to be honest. I mean, he actually looked a bit more mobile than he did at points last season when he had the issue with the knee, and the problem was nobody at Celtic really actually communicated that. So, eventually when they said, oh, this clean-up thing needing on his knee, and he went away and he got it done and all that, but people didn't know anything about it before then. Anyway, yeah, that looks a really good lineup, and obviously we've got Abada in as a captain just now. I think he's been really sharp in pre-season too, and I think this will be a game for goals. I mean, Ross County are a bit leaky. If anybody holds a Ross Laidlaw, then they'll have a good cap option potentially after this week. So there we go. So you're quite happy with that one overall then? Does that look good?
Yeah, that's really good. I think when you come on to other ones, I've got Celtic stacks and those as well. I think they've got the best matchup of the weekend for me. Yeah. I think it's Zagreb. That match has just been cancelled for game week 395.
Oh,
I
is
don't know
it?
if that affects any of your rare or super rare teams, but unless the tweet I've just seen is incorrect, that's just been cancelled. Yeah. So again, that's a favourable fixture missing for myself, obviously on these limited teams. And I think obviously Bruges, Genk, teams like that have had the midweek games for the qualifiers. So I think with those on right now, it leaves Celtic probably in the best position. Rangers haven't got an awful fixture either, but I know they've got quite a few cards across different players. But again, they're quite hard to predict who's going to start and stuff there. So I'm more than happy for
they
this
were
side.
Okay. It's the Dynamo are playing Gorica, but Lokomotiva game on the 12th of August that's postponed. So because they're running for the qualifiers, and obviously that's getting into the business end of things then. So so I think that's okay. So All-Star Limited, we'll just go through them in order. So cap 220. Again, I mean, the only thing I would say is here, obviously, you're using Joe Hart in here, which I don't mind. You can you don't need to give me any answers just now, but it might make more sense actually maybe to move Joe Hart to the other one in terms of, obviously, I'm trying to see what other options I could kind of give you. Actually, calendars become available now here because the Messi game's been added, so you might be better to put in calendar there and then move Joe Hart into the full stack on the All-Star.
Yeah, that's probably a good shout. That is, yeah. We don't have to do it on camera, but yeah, more than happy for you to swap those around. I think that's a better shout because I know the German goalkeeper I've chosen is away from home, and I think Bundesliga 2 usually has quite a few goals. So I'm more than happy to go with that.
I think if you're going to stack, like you're probably as well just plugging Hart in, because in my experience of it is, I mean, it's not always to say that everything will all work out and it will be a really good game for stacking, but I think it could be a good game for stacking. And also my experience of it is to try to get somebody else to predict them keeping a clean sheet and getting the Celtic result is actually harder than just Celtic winning 3 or 4-0 at home. But he did put up a great match against Hertha Berlin the last time, but he was really busy. So, I think Hart will probably have less to do. So obviously if Celtic have a bit of a brain fart moment, you'll be struggling there. But I think your downside here is the Miami game's just been added, so you probably wouldn't even seen that.
No, I
Cap
didn't
was
realise that was
available.
there. I think I've added Messi in one of the sides, so I
Yeah,
noticed that, but I completely forgot about calendar.
yeah. Do you think generally this looks good? I'll probably not go over it too much, but what I'll do is just I'll keep an eye on it, and even like tomorrow morning, like I'm off and stuff, I'll just message you as well because it looks here as if there's like Boanga's in here, which suggests that he's got a game, but he doesn't have an opponent yet. So if that LA game falls in, then you might actually have a few options which might come in there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in Hart here so that we don't forget about it,
Thank you.
and then obviously that will keep that one set. Cap 240 limited. So the one we issue in here is I think you pick your big, but your big, I think I've actually sold them since then. I think I had them listed on the market, but I fired in Xander Clark away at St Johnson because they've been really poor recently. That this probably is a slight change from your draft as well, but because Xander Clark was less than your big, I've just fired in Ewan Bitgram to use up the cap. So I think Suter, McGregor, and Bongonda, they're all really good picks. I think Play Sharper has got Suter as heavy favourite to start over the other defenders at Rangers as well. So I think you've got quite a good sort of mix of good fixtures and stuff there. Again, Garama just picked him for a 57, but what I'll do is I'll filter it to 57. You can maybe have a wee look here and you can see if there's anybody else you fancy, but that was just my kind of natural inclination because it's quite a good fixture against Suwon.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to trust you on that one. I don't really follow too much of the Asian football. I was hoping Koita for Salzburg was going to be fit and firing this season. I had his rear to start the season, but it sounds like he's got a hamstring injury.
Oh,
So that's a nightmare again for him because he was out for a while before. And obviously,
yeah.
there's a couple of players like you've gone past there. Skov Olsen's injured. Bella
Yeah.
Kopcho, I think, might be moving or he's injured as well.
Mukhtar's available as well. So I mean, you've got like Busquets, Mukhtar, Jordi Alba, Hugo CK. You're running the 23s, so I've already put that in. So yeah, there's a few options, but what I would say is I think Garam's probably the highest sort of base type player. I mean, obviously you've got to wait on the actual scores coming through, but some of the scores he's been doing this season have been outrageous. I mean, I think one of the games he done a 70 and they get beat 3-0 or something usually. So I think against Suwon are pretty awful. What I'll do as well is I subscribe to the K League stuff. So when I get the stuff through, I'll double check he's in the predicted lineups and stuff for you as well. But I think that's really strong because I think Hearts have got a pretty good clean sheet chance against St Johnson. Like they get gubbed for St Johnson lost 4-0 to like Stirling Albion or something in the League Cup and they get papped out. So I think that's actually a pretty good sort of matchup for Hearts, even though it's away from home. So I think that's pretty good overall.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Good stuff. Next one, Cap 270. I have to remember this is a really good one. Oh, I love this one. I think you actually tried to put Messi in here, but I don't know.
Yeah, I changed that to Messi now. Yeah, and I think
Doesn't fit the cap though.
it worked by so. No, it doesn't fit the cap. No, that's me being an absolute moron. That is.
Well, I mean, if you want to captain Messi there, then you probably just need to get rid of like a Rio or a Matt O'Reilly, which wouldn't be the worst thing to do. I mean, I guess like obviously you'd be less reliant on the Celtic clean sheet. But yeah, I did go to put that in, and I noticed that it was buggering up the cap. So I mean, obviously, if you look to say take Matt O'Reilly out of midfield's 59, so that leaves you what? My math's terrible. There's
Yeah, don't ask me on
click
maths.
on affordable only. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a Wata midfielder card or something like that. If he played, I'm not sure how well that really scores.
You could do something like that, yeah. So 57.
Yeah, I have no idea why I thought that would fit under the cap. I thought it was a bit too good to be true when I looked at it. In fairness,
I know that's a good one. I actually bought a Cifuentes. Well, I owned a Cifuentes and I bought a rare because I think he's going to be moving to Rangers. He was here to sign, but I don't think he'll start for the weekend because he's literally just about to be announced. So you could go in a mid card. Michael Johnson's injured. Bullet missed the last game.
Yeah.
Turnbull's an interesting one. I don't think he'll start, but he could well decisive from the bench. Haksabanovic again probably won't start. Kind of scraping the barrel a wee bit here. I'm trying to see if there's anybody who I think's like a kind of good sneaky option down here. Galars is an interesting one actually because he came on the other night for Hainen, who's a horrendous tackle on him. Like,
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
so he might be an option to fill in there.
Let me have a look at the Genk lineup.
Oh,
See
Al
what they say.
Hassan Yusuf is Anderlecht, but he did like a 60 on a base last game, so he's definitely a cap buster, I think, based on that. I didn't realise he was so low actually, Al Hassan Yusuf.
Interesting.
Um,
Yeah, if you want for now, that Galaz was 75% to start on play sharper for Genk. So
yeah,
I'd be happy just to stick him in now and do a little bit more research, make sure that
yeah.
that's
Put him
perfect.
in
But
as a
that
placeholder just
well.
now. He's saying I've got
Yeah,
a Galarza 13.5. That's because he's the old Argentinos card, and then Messi's going to be your captain, isn't he? Like you
yeah,
can't, as much as it's a kind of predominant Celtic lineup, there's only one guy you're going to want a captain there, aren't you? So
yeah,
you're happy with that? I mean, she's still
yeah,
got 37. She's still got 4 points to play with there, actually. Although I think your defender and forward selections are pretty good there, but you can maybe think about with it a wee bit as well. But yeah, I mean, getting Messi in's like that's the big sort of thing you
yeah.
want
As
to
soon as
do
I
on.
saw it was available, I had to try and get him in there.
Challenger Europe Limited. So again, we're going like pretty strong on Celtic. So yeah, I'm pretty sure the game is on, obviously for Zagreb. So I was just double checking because I was sometimes I message Mike who does the play sharper stuff, but he said it's Dynamo and Lokomotiv in the 12th it's off. So that looks like it's on, and I think he thinks that like I think Satala is going to go right, but
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Satala's aye. But Ivanisevic, the reason we mentioned that is Ivanisevic had links too, but they seem quite insistent on they won't move until after
Yeah,
the qualifiers. So if you want to play Ivanisevic, then he's a guy who's just been on outrageous form, really, to be honest. I don't know if you'd given me a captain here. Have you any thoughts on the captain here? I think I just picked Tati because
yeah. I think Hatate is probably the best shout there, especially his defender card. If they
yeah,
keep that clean sheet, get 3-4-0. If he gets a decisive as well, there you probably are looking in the 80-90 point range. So I
yeah,
think that would be perfect. I think if that match isn't on, we could always move Matt O'Reilly as the
yeah,
midfielder. Got
yeah,
another Celtic stack there. I know we've got
yeah.
Celtic in which everyone, so it might be a bit boring for people watching. But yeah, I think that's the play this week.
That's all right.
But
These are
yeah,
your lineups this weekend, so they'll probably see plenty of stuff in my teams as well. I'm just gonna see if there's a predicted lineup and play sharper on my phone just now to see what the sort of yeah. So Mike's got Ivanisevic in at 80%. I think he
okay.
thinks he'll probably rotate a wee bit in defence. But Satalo, he's got 80. That's more relevant for me. But he's got Ivanisevic and Batarina, etc., in at 80%. So
Okay.
yeah, that looks pretty good. And obviously,
Yeah.
Lord Hands, he,
Got to have him in
you say,
somewhere.
what can you say
Yeah.
about him? But yeah, that looks really good lineup, and definitely. I mean, looking through this, like it's definitely card threatening lineups. I think what MLS based ones. So I think the only issue here is obviously when you've picked this, you wouldn't have known that Miami were playing. So um, you Pinero, I think, might be injured.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, correct in saying that. When I went back on Sorare data, I've just noticed that everyone is saying that he's injured. So I put Mukhtar in this team
yeah,
just as a placeholder because again, I'm not massively into Champion America with these teams. I know most of the MLS players, but outside of that, I'm not great. So I'm kind of
yeah,
trusting you a little bit on certain players, whether you think they'd be good picks or not. I was trying to go on one, whether they were
yeah,
definite starters, and then two, what their scores were like essentially, and this seemed to be a pretty decent team. But there's so much rotation in those different leagues and stuff with the caps as
yeah.
well. I find them a nightmare, which is why I try
It's
and usually
hard.
stay a bit away from them. I had a Philadelphia stack over the summer, limited, and I think I won one card maybe the whole time. One because Andre Blake was away, and then two they just either weren't keeping a clean sheet or I had the wrong players. So it was a nightmare.
I think Johnny Russell's probably the best selection to put in there. I mean,
Perfect.
I think he hit like a 75, 80 in the last game. I think
Right.
this one probably just keep this under review. Like it's probably
Yeah,
stick to Hanny, but like there's going to be some developments in terms of games being played. So I mean, obviously, if you can pick like a Dennis Boanga, then that's definitely going in there. Again, he's a hit and miss type guy, but when he does hit, he's doing high 80s and 90s and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that, and you can message me later, or we'll have a look at it tomorrow morning. Champion Asia again is probably one that's not really overly strong, but I mean, there's some good options in here. I mean, Lee Guang
yeah,
Yun's just broken in, and Norbert Bratso is a kind of sneaky good scorer. Cezinha's got a tough matchup, but I think you've
yeah.
done the right thing just playing him in Asia because you've got plenty of good options in terms of the other teams. So
Yeah, and it's a senior, so you've got to captain him and get him in some side, same as Anakin. So that's why I went for him here.
Asian
Yeah, but
team.
I've got no idea. I'll be honest on Asian teams. So if you think that's an okay side, I'll run with that.
I'm just going to confirm it before people realise that I've not got any idea of Asia as well. So I mean, to be fair, like it probably does come across that way, but when I'm picking up Asian guys, a lot of the times I'm picking them up to bolster my all-star options. Like
Yeah,
obviously you've got times where you cross over the summer, and Cezinha is a guy where you really want to have him in some of your best teams, and a lot of my best teams will not be in Asia. Second division Europe. So interestingly, obviously championships back this weekend,
yeah.
isn't it? So it's welcome to see that back as well.
Yeah,
Um,
really interesting what will happen there. Meslier is a nightmare for myself as well. I've got him in rare. I was hoping he was
right.
going to move and be a definite starter somewhere. Now Carl Darlow's come in to Leeds. I'm really 50-50 on whether he's going to start or not at rare level. I've actually got a semi-decent under 23 rare side this weekend with Matt O'Reilly and Abada. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know whether to play them with him, gamble it, and hope they do well and he starts, or de-risk and then go into like Challenger Rare Pro or something. So that's going to be a really difficult one. I'm
yeah.
hoping he starts, but I don't know.
I think it was kind of rumor that he would want away and stuff. So you wonder whether they brought in Darlow to sort of facilitate that. But then the goalkeeper market's a strange one because it seems to be that sometimes there's waiting on somebody to move to leave a place open and somebody else moves and all that type of stuff. But I mean, I don't think I really have. Well, I mean, you could put in Castenmeyer in here now, so that's interesting. You could
Interesting.
swap
Yeah,
him out and de-risk it. Um,
yeah. Let's do that. I didn't realize he was under 23. If I'm honest, I think I had him in. Oh yeah, I had him in All Star, didn't I? Because I
Yeah,
had Joe
so
in
you can
captain
move them
20.
over because that's probably a better plan. And actually, overall, I quite like this because Watford are playing QPR at home. QPR have been pretty poor form overall. Watford are a kind of funny team. They're a bit hit and miss as well, but I fancy them obviously first game of the season at home. Eater's been playing the left of a back three. So he was kind
Nice.
of touted when he was younger as a left back, but his scores have become really solid. You see, average wise here, last 15 of
Yeah,
56. So that seems good. And Fagir has just moved to the German second division, but he scored in the last game. So again, he's got a overall average of 40, but I think he did like 65 or something last game. So I think I quite like that, to be honest. I don't think I really any other comments on that if you're happy with it.
yeah. More than happy with that one. Yeah,
And then I think your last lineup um,
bit of a
is
throwaway. I think this one.
under 23s. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, it's not my strongest weekend in terms of under 23s. Obviously, a lot of the guys who are really strong options, guys like Kokchu, Schlotterbeck, etc., just aren't playing. But the flip side of that is if these guys hit, then the actual required points to win the division might not be quite as bonkers. So, I
Yeah.
wouldn't give up any sort of thought of actually sort of winning something as a result of that. I think this was your updated lineup that you sent me over, Kim. Jung Hoon's guy I'm actually playing in Moan lineups and stuff. But so what were your thoughts behind this, just in terms of the players available?
Yeah, I think I went for Nusa because I think Scott Olsen is definitely out. So I'm hoping that Nusa will get some game time there. Sequet should be a decent scorer for Circle of Bruges this season. I'm hoping. Obviously back there again. Charleroi, I think they won or they drew 1-1 last weekend. I
Yeah,
think they had a red card early on, so it wasn't too much of a match. But again, that should be a semi decent fixture for him at home. Matt O'Reilly's Matt O'Reilly, and hopefully he should have a really good season. Marcelin, I didn't realize he'd actually moved to Liga 1. Sorry, the second one. Again, I'm not sure whether that's a decent fixture for him, but I know he's been predominantly a semi decent scorer throughout his Sorare career when he's been on the platform. And then goalkeeper wise, I didn't really have too many options. And he seemed to be the best to go for. Again, like I said, Asian football, I really don't follow too much. He seemed like a decent scorer. Obviously, with a 57 L15 is very good.
Manto's not really. He didn't start first game, although new manager in, so I'm still just going to sit on him. Lowell actually had quite a good game, but away to Sturm Graz is a pretty tough fixture, and then Mesley is a huge risk. So I think out of the guys you've got available, that's a kind of no-brainer, because John Book also are at home tension, so I think that seems good. The only thing is here, I think obviously there's 2 Matt O'Reillys available, so what I might do is just slot in the 16% just in case you don't use them elsewhere, because you're an extra 5% on there, and then if you want to move them about or whatever, you can let me know.
Perfect.
Good. Awesome. Well, I mean, honestly, I think there's lots of card chances there. Like, I really think you've got lots of chances running. Like, this, we've discussed it over and over, but Celtic have got a pretty good fixture. Me and Quinny are going to have a few drinks and watch it, so it could be good fun on Saturday. So I think that's good. I'm going to get your thoughts now as well. I won't go into them in huge detail, but obviously usually do a lineup builder. So I'm going to show you mines as well. We'll go through them quickly. This is a bit of a bonkers one as well, because this is actually the first time I've entered the All-Star Unique since I won it the last time. So and taking this chance too, because they've changed the requirements now. You need 4 uniques, which I will have, but I don't have at the moment because there's not much back. So yeah, I've gone with the old Celtic baseline here and the ex-Celtic baseline with Jordan Larson.
He's been playing really well as well, hasn't he?
Nice.
Now, so that team should really be, as Quinny would say, podium dangerous.
I mean, I think one of the interesting things here is, so there's like eight rewards or something, but when I looked earlier, I think there was only like 20 teams in this. So obviously that will go up 22 teams. So it's actually, because of there's so much like not on just now, it's taking away a lot of the combinations of the uniques. So
that should be a really, really strong matchup for you then there,
Yeah, and Big Matt O'Reilly, I mean, I think he's only, obviously Vickers is a reasonable option overall, but you can't actually captain a super rare in that division either. So Matt O'Reilly is just complete no-brainer, I think, in that one, obviously with the baseline and stuff as well. A bit of nostalgia because he was a captain the last time too. So there we go. Cap 240 rare. So going with Bazzuno, I think like all the reports seem to think that he's won the place back. So we're pretty delighted about that because he's got a crap cap cost, but utility wise, I think he'll be a massive card in the championship. And then obviously I've actually gone with the same 2 options. I just think that Watford QPR fixture is a really good one. A defender, and Sinistera, if you just ever actually stay fit, I just think he'd be brilliant in the championship. So
he's so good for Feyenoord. I remember having him when he was there, obviously, and he was so good back in the Eredivisie. So I actually think he would do better for Leeds in the Prem than he did. I think he showed glimpses of it when he was fit, as you've just said. But in the Championship, if they keep him fit, 48 games or 46 games of utility there, that should be a really strong card this season.
Yeah. Champion Europe, so I've run out of Joe Hart's at this point. I actually was thinking about buying another one, but Brendan Rodgers is saying that there'll be other people coming in before the window closes, and there's some priority positions, so it's not giving anything away in terms of who the priorities are. But Lowell actually is a guy I picked up a while back and I've been sort of sitting on, and he did have a pretty good first game, so I think that's going to be a boom or bust. I think last will either get hammered or he'll put up a good AA, but he did have a good AA in the last game. CCV, Ivanisek's just such a good fixture, and he's been playing really well, so it's just a kind of mix up of Celtic guys in Zagreb. I do have Ristovski, but he's a super rare, so obviously can't play him in there. Oh, 2 seconds. Man, that's my wife just chatting. You're on video. He's got nothing to say. All-Star Rare. At this point, actually, believe it or not, well, the cards I've got, like, I don't have many good like defensive options, etc. back, so I wouldn't really recommend running Willis and Zimmerman against Cincinnati, to be honest. Like, so that's a pretty tough game, but that's kind of all I was left over with. Valery Kazashvili's been pretty good. Cezinha in there, just like, because Cezinha and I put in Greg Taylor. So again, it's not really a high priority lineup, but still some good players in there, but not great fixtures, I don't think. Asia wise, so yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I suggested Ewan Graham, because he was a kind of standout captain pick for me when I was picking my Champion Asia Rare Pro. So I just think Suwon are like bottom of the league, I think, as well. So fixtures wise, like, it's pretty good. And he's he's on all the sets and everything, so that's why he's doing these insane bases. So yeah, Langrak's good home game. Eduardo's been excellent for Marinos. And Izaka is a kind of personal favourite of mine, and Edgar Silva's big sort of target man for Diageo. Did have another option, but was suspended, so I don't have another option. Then back to Celtic. So yeah, this is where it's getting kind of interesting as well, in terms of the Celtic stack for the Rare Pro. So I don't know what to do with this, because when I picked this, actually Messi wasn't available. So whether actually I take Messi out of Champion America and just kind of put him in here as a bit of a differential. So this is something I might actually change. But yeah, I don't know. I think I've got my Carter Vickers Super Rare somewhere else. So I was just kind of hedging my bets a wee bit, because Vickers only played like 45 minutes, but I think that looks pretty strong overall as well, and it's just basically just backing Celtic for a home run job, really.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if you can get Messi in there, though, you've got to get Messi in there.
I might do that. It's just whether or not it's worth weakening that lineup. I mean, I might just actually take out Iwata and just run Messi in there. In fact, I can't take out Iwata because then I need to play another defender. Yeah.
Have you got Super Rare Messi or Rare Messi?
I wish.
Double checking. I've seen some of the cards you've got these days.
No, I wish I did, but it's just a rare. I try to see what I've done with my other Vickers, because I've got two Carter Vickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Carter Vickers in the later lineup, so yeah, I could probably swap them around as well. But yeah, I'll think about that, because the American one I'll come back to in a wee minute. But I think it's actually a good lineup. So I've kind of gone in a weird way here in terms of just run all Russian in the Challenger Europe. So because I've run my Celtic lineup in the All-Star, I've kind of went completely different and just picked all my best, what I think my best options are from Russia. So Douglas Santos just
good.
He's got to captain the guy. I mean, he's been insane. I actually quite really like that, because Utkin's played the first couple of games and he's looking a bit more solid, and Krasnodar are either horrendous or they put up really good scores. They're a kind of weird team, but
Safonov wasn't great last season, was he?
No.
In terms of scores. I didn't really follow the Russian league. I used to have quite a few cards from there. I had Zakharyan when he was there, Szymanski as well. Those types of players always used to be really good on the platform. But yeah, obviously with everything going on over there, I kind of got out of there fast. I didn't know what was going to happen with those cards. But yeah, that's
the problem with Safonov is he wants to go to Europe, but like European teams are kind of reluctant to pay money to Russia. It's a weird dynamic. Challenger Europe Super Rare, I'm not going to open up. I've just wired in Segrist in there, because by that point I've run out of actual goalkeepers that can play in terms of the Super Rare side. But I mean, Rostovsky's an interesting one. Again, the reason I've fired him in there, he's 55% play sharper. So I think with the first leg of the Zagreb game they've got a hard game against AEK Athens or something midweek. Right. So from that point of view, I think they'll probably rotate a wee bit at the back. So Champion Asia Rare. This one's a wee bit chucked in, but again, it's like a full 5 of guys who are playing. So just kind of doubled up the guys at Beijing Guan. It's interesting people are talking to Saudi Arabia because I thought Nagadu would be absolutely brilliant in China, and actually scoring is pretty similar, if not slightly less than it was when he was playing in Belgium. So,
Really?
people just assume that if somebody goes to like Saudi or whatever, they'll score really well,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always actually work out like that. So,
No, I think there was a striker as well from where was it? I can't remember in my head, but yeah, again, very similar to that. People
yeah,
were saying, oh, he's going to smash over there and then didn't do great. But obviously, you've got the counter of that, like an Oscar who went over there. I know he's probably a slightly better player, but if you ever look at his scores, it's hundreds every week.
easy.
So there are certain players like that.
Yeah, I think it's Marcus Pink because I own him as well.
That's it. That's the one. Yeah,
um,
that's what I was trying to get in my head.
this Guttelbauer is a backup, but again, I've run out of goalkeepers at this point. But Eo Tanaka's got a game, so again, he's probably a guy I could have had as an option in the All Star. He hit like a 50 in the last game. Somebody sold him for like 900 quid, so I never really understood why the guy listed Eo at like under £1,000 because he's playing in these second divisions where if he gets his fitness up, he could easily go on a sort of run a basis. And there was rumours of maybe he would move on, and everybody like you'll probably remember him playing for Frontale and
Yeah,
him Atati and
absolute smasher. Yeah,
Riot. So a couple of these are just academy teams. All Star Super Rare. So again, this is why Vickers isn't in that other team because he's
yeah,
in with Willis. I didn't want Riss Zimmerman in this sort of lineup because I still think it's a good fixture for Nashville. And then obviously Vickers, Kalmack. Nenny Dargeles played in Coyte's place last time, so he's Salzburg. And
nice. I haven't heard of him. That's an interesting one. Yeah,
yeah, one to keep an eye out for because he was on loan. I think it was Westerlo last season, and
right.
he looks quite lively. But interestingly, Salzburg have kind of brought him back, and he started straight away. In fact, he even started in that position over Oscar Glock, which I was really shocked about as well. So I think he's definitely one to keep an eye out for. Cap 270 rare. This is a sneaky one, but I really like this team because I think San Frecce, as you pronounce it correctly, like they've got quite a good game against Shonan. So I've went with the kind of Ozako, Araki, Notsuda kind of 3-man stack, and then Hatati forward card is a kind of sneaky one because I think the forward card actually scores slightly better than the mid card for some reason. Probably just because Celtic conceded a few goals last season and stuff, and you get that kind of -2 or whatever. And then I've got a Wata in there as well. So yeah, I don't think anything from the press conference has really put me off putting a Wata in there too. And this is one. This will be interesting for you. So I still love this lineup.
Really good side. Yeah,
I really. This is one I really really love. Satalo came off at like 68 minutes for Zagreb, so I think the conjecture is that they've taken him off to rest him for the upcoming games. So I think I'm going to risk him there because I don't think I've really got any other good options this weekend. It's quite a sneaky, difficult weekend. So
it is. Yeah,
and obviously Abada and O'Reilly. So I think that's the strongest I can kind of go in that department for this weekend, if that makes sense. I just don't see it. And Nicholas Madsen's a hard game against Club Brugge, but just sort of banking on him maybe getting a penalty or just somebody getting a flick on from a set piece or something. But he
yeah.
looks,
He seemed to be on set plays as well now, doesn't he? I remember when Laird got him from Cap 240, and he wasn't too happy with him because he hadn't had a sale in ages because he obviously must have just moved to Westlow or whatever it had been.
yeah,
But he started the season really well. I watched that game and he was really good in that game. I could see him doing really well this season.
yeah.
He was
But I kind of snapped bottom after that. So it was
oh,
like one
did you
of these,
go
like,
there?
am I FOMO buying this guy or is this guy, because like the Kuiper was so good there, like taking off
Yes.
sets and everything. And obviously that's different because he was a defender card. But and then like obviously Abada, I'm really backing this weekend, and I'm going to captain him here. And Glock's an interesting one. I've kind of gone double Salzburg, which I think is just a kind of good strategy for the under 23s. And Glock might not even start, but it's a pretty good home game for Salzburg.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sort of double stacking here. And so the lineup will be out. So because it's at 11:30, I'll know if they're playing. So
Nice.
I just thought that would be like a kind of sensible way to go.
That's a good team.
And then we're nearly down to yours. This is the Champ America team that I've got. So So it's a pretty strong chance actually. So it's one of the reasons why I hadn't rolled Messi in as a sort of differential. But I might change my mind on that. I don't know. See what the price pool's like in Champ America. See, I mean the Ethereum rate's pretty. So you're all 1 star and then it's pretty low F. So
Yeah.
probably would be
What's
better.
the prize pool like in All Star Rare Pro? I'm assuming very good.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, if you win this, obviously you've got quite a good
you'll get
chance of
another
winning
Messi.
a
Yeah.
Messi. So I suppose there's that, but that's probably a decision I'll just need to kind of review, if you know what I mean. But I think the other issue there is I don't know what other sort of forwards I've got, but I'll probably just rejig that if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think that might be one I'll just want Messi in a really strong team. So again, I just fired him in pre-stream, but like the game only became available, and then this is my last one. This is a no goalkeeper one because obviously Sagres just to keep the cap down. So Joe Sager, Larson, Ita, and Taylor. I actually think that they could hit 250 between the four.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think there's a good chance. I mean, if Greg Taylor does start and he gets a goal or assist or whatever, he could be a 70 or 80 on his own. So it's a wee bit of a throwaway, but aye, so you've got to use up the cards, and then we're down onto yours. So yeah, I mean that looks like a really strong weekend of teams, to be honest, between yours and mine. So I'm pretty excited about that, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I think with there not being too many matches, as you said, and then you get Celtic in such a good fixture, I don't think you can look past them yourself, or obviously what I've done with my teams as well. There, I think they should smash it, and hopefully will be close to the top of the leaderboard on a lot of the divisions.
Yeah. The interesting thing with Rogers coming in, I covered this in the other preview as well, is that like Ange played in a certain way. So at home, obviously, he liked like to pin teams back, and the defenders were really quite pushed up and things. Rogers has a lot of similarities because he likes the pressing game and things, but he has a really high possession type game as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the scores sort of work out with that. Like if there's a lot of possession, the centre halves maybe giving it to the wing backs more, or the midfield more, or how it sort of works. I mean, Ross County are probably just going to sit like 10 men behind the ball type thing. So I could really see a lot of high scoring, and if Celtic get a goal in the first half or whatever, then I think if you've got Ross Laidlaw, you're going to be watching the game like it's going to be like he's going to do like 80 or like 4. It's like aye, it's going to be one of those. And I think I mentioned this the day we played Aberdeen as well, because Celtic were rotten before that, but this is Flag Day, right? And Flag Day for Celtic fans and for the club's a big day. So I think they'll actually, with an early kick-off and stuff like that, there'll be a good atmosphere. So if Celtic get their tails up, then I think we could be laughing with some of the prizes there.
Amazing, loads of stars. Bring them in.
Yeah, good. Well, thanks very much for coming on, David. I'm going to let you go because I know you said obviously you didn't have too much time, but appreciate you coming on the channel as well, and good luck. Hopefully, tomorrow night, if you do win something midweek, I've got something planned with the wife, so it's not a divorce, by the way. So
Just in case you're listening in the background.
aye, so we'll just so I'll not be able to get you on to actually do the rewards or anything, but what I might do is rather than doing a video, I'll just like thing it on my phone or something. I'll send it to you first, and then I'll upload it just so that you're not been like kept in tenterhooks. But hopefully, Philadelphia get a good result there and stuff, and you can pick up a couple of limited, and that will give you something to go out and into the weekend and stuff as well.
Perfect. No, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been really enjoyable to have a look through your teams. It's interesting, obviously, with the other leagues, which I don't usually touch. Like I said, I'm mainly focused on Champ Europe or Challenger Europe. So actually picking those players and having a look how essentially you have to try and pick through so many different players, going through your list, which is going down and down and down. Like you had five with certain goalkeepers. When the hell does this end? But no, it was really enjoyable, really good idea from yourself, I think, in terms of a giveaway. So thank you so much for the opportunity on that.
No bother. Okay, so we'll need to end it in the traditional way, and then I'll end the video. So good luck and go fuck. See you later,
Good
mate.
luck. Good luck. See you in a bit, mate. Thanks so much.